It opens with the night guard going to work at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, as we would expect. He then gets a phone call from the phone guy to basically say that the animatronics do get a bit quirky at night and stuff. Right off the bat though, we get quite a big difference though. The animatronics are actually good guys. Yeah, they don't want to kill Markiplier, they actually just want to entertain him. But Markiplier doesn't know this. The phone guy told him the animatronics can be a bit active, which doesn't really correspond to they're gonna shove you inside a Freddy suit. But I can see why he would be freaked out though. I mean, I'd be pretty freaked out too if the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese started moving. So the animatronics try to convince Markiplier that they mean no harm, but he's in disbelief. He uses the mechanics that you'd use in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2 to get rid of the animatronics, like the mask and the doors. I like that it's following the game. There's also a lot of nicely placed FNAF references as well, such as the It's Me, the ventilation errors, the music box, Foxy banging on the door, and even ships. Yeah, Foxy X Mangle is referencing this. As Markiplier is about to die to the marionette, then his power runs out because he's kept the door shut the entire time. Then Freddy starts singing to him because they think that he's scared of the dark, which is also another nice reference to FNAF 1. Then the purple guy arrives and...
AJ!
Oh wait, no, his name's actually AJ and he's actually the day shift worker. So then AJ tells him that it's basically made to 6 AM, but he also tells him that he actually has to do another 4 nights.
You're scheduled 4 more nights this week.
What?
So instead of quitting, he actually goes back, but this time he has a gun ready to shoot the animatronics. Alright, I get that he's scared of them, but I don't think it would be alright to shoot the animatronics because, well, that's vandalism. Also, in the actual game, you literally get fired for tampering with the animatronics. So then Markiplier, accidentally shoots the janitor because he mistakes him for Foxy.
You're not Foxy.
And what happens next is absolutely hysterical. He gets arrested by the police, but then he literally escaped because the police forgot to shut the door. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's actually so stupid, it's actually comical.
We forgot to lock the perp in again.
Oh, the chief's gonna have our badges for this one.
I won't tell if you don't.
So Markiplier goes home and probably fired and also probably wanted for attempted murder. So then they try to get hold of Nate Wants to Battle, who is in debt. You know what I find funny about this though? I think Nate Wants to Battle is actually playing Nate Wants to Battle because later on he says this.
But YouTube ad rev isn't all that great.
So Nate Wants to Battle accepts the job and goes to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Unlike Markiplier, Nate Wants to Battle actually doesn't think the animatronics are deadly, which makes sense because it is implied that he did used to work there. So then the animatronics find a random box that's just seen lying around. Then Bonnie agrees that he'll open it, but then whatever was in the box has now escaped. Nate Wants to Battle then finds Bonnie tied up, and it turns out the thing in the box was actually Springtrap. And unlike the other animatronics, Springtrap actually wants to kill. So Springtrap is about to kill Nate, but then Super Freddy to the rescue. Oh, never mind. Then Springtrap's about to kill Nate Wants to Battle, but then the puppet comes and saves him, and then he gets sliced into pieces by the fan. Then Springtrap gets crushed by Foxy. Then everyone panics because the puppet is the only one who can protect them, even though he was killed quite easily. So then they try and get Markiplier to help. It doesn't really make much sense as for why they'll try and get Markiplier. It is explained later on that they think the police will probably think that they're mental and that's why they don't want to do it, but Markiplier literally tried to kill them, so maybe how about you just get anyone else? So then Purple Guy, AJ.
Hello, it's Purple Guy!
Wait, what? Never mind. Anyway, it goes back only to find the place is completely empty, Nate Wants to Battle's not there, and neither are the animatronics. So then Nate Wants to Battle phones him and basically warns him about Springtrap. Then they arrive at Markiplier's house. Alright, I know this is nitpicking, but Markiplier must live really far away if it took this long for him to get to Mark's house and it's 12 AM at this point. In fear that Springtrap will escape and run loose killing people, Nate Wants to Battle sets up Balloon Boy and tries to lure Springtrap away. Pretty neat reference to FNAF 3. While this is happening, the animatronics are trying to talk to Markiplier, but Markiplier won't let them through, and he's using the torch and the doors, just like FNAF 4. They even have Foxy in the closet. Then, Springtrap kills Balloon Boy. Then the animatronics finally get into Markiplier, and as expected, Markiplier doesn't just listen to them and threatens to kill Freddy. But then Nate Wants to Battle gets in and tells him about Springtrap. At first he doesn't want to do it, but then he gets told that if he does do it, he is proving to the police that there is actually killer animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Nate then takes the animatronics and Mark to his apartment. Nate then tells Mark that he actually didn't kill the janitor, instead he just seriously injured him. That could still be attempted murder regardless though. They then return to Freddy's only to find a hanging balloon boy, and they come up with a plan to defeat Springtrap. Their ultimate plan is to go around and find the fire extinguishers to put water on Springtrap, because water and Springlocks don't mix. There is 5 fire extinguishers located around the building, and all of them seem to have been taken however though, except for one which is in the kitchen. I quite like that it's in the kitchen because the kitchen's the only one that doesn't have any cameras. Chica then lures Springtrap back into the office where Markiplier then catches him, and then they're about to defeat him, but oh wait, the fire extinguisher actually is foam, not water. But then it turns out that the purple guy is the one who took the fire extinguishers and is also the person who created Springtrap. He didn't intend on Springtrap being a murder weapon, his intentions were to scare off the people working the night shift so that he could have it. I kinda have mixed feelings on this twist as a whole. On the one hand, I really like the foreshadowing behind this twist.
By the way, how are you getting so many hours? You're scheduled 4 more nights this week.
You mean this old thing? Found it earlier when I was looking for the others. Kinda smells, doesn't it? On the other hand, a little overtime never killed anyone.
But on the other hand, his motivations just aren't realistic. Like, Nate Wants to Battle even mentions that he can't have the day and night shift, and his response to this is,
Can't legally let stinky animatronics bite children either.
nah, there's a big difference. Another problem I've got with his twist though is that it doesn't really add anything. Nate Wants to Battle and Markiplier just let him have the night shift and the end. Overall, I think it's an okay twist that could have been executed better. But just when you think it's all over, the phone guy breaks down the walls, Jack Nicholson style. Yes, the phone guy is actually a true villain, and it's a pretty shit villain, not gonna lie. On the one hand, I do like MatPat's acting, I think he does a great job, but I don't really like the villain himself though. First off, there's no indications to this twist, and secondly, he doesn't really have any motivations. He's just a complete psychopath that just kills people for fun, I guess, and I don't even know myself really what his motivations are. Make him a really boring villain, and I think he's just there just for the sake of adding last minute conflict. Anyway, the phone guy brutally murders AJ and just kind of rambles on for a bit. Anyway, then Markiplier then sends Springtrap on him, and then they have a fight, and MatPat also accidentally sets the place on fire. They all leave, and he also cuts off Springtrap's head. Oof. After Freddy Fazbear's burns to the ground, it later gets revealed that MatPat actually survived the fire, and that he will kill Nate Wants to Battle once he gets out. But then Nate just throws his phone in the water. Nice. I guess the animatronics are now working at the offices, which is weird. And then it pretty much ends there. So what are my thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's the Musical? Well, there's some parts that don't make any sense, the phone guy isn't a very good villain, and there isn't really much character development on Mark or Nate, but overall I still actually quite like it. While the story isn't that faithful to the games, I would say the film overall is. It has loads of references to Five Nights at Freddy's games, and I really like how well they're placed. I think the production as well as the acting is actually really good for YouTube movie standards. I really like the songs as well, and Markiplier can actually really sing, and I was actually quite surprised at first. Also, Nate Wants to Battle is a really good singer, by the way, you should check him out. So is Five Nights at Freddy's a musical as good as I remember? Nah, it's not great. It definitely has a lot of flaws, but it's still a good movie, I think, and I'd be happy to revisit it. Also, it's only 30 minutes long, so if you have enough spare time on you, I would say give it a watch. Although, if you haven't really played Five Nights at Freddy's, then you may not really get a lot of the references, and you may find the film boring. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this review of Five Nights at Freddy's the Musical, and bye.